What's wrong?
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Okay, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to make a hoodie or a hood for a robe or something like that. I was helping a friend with a character, and you can see right here it's Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, and the character is rigged and everything, and you see he has a hood on, and I actually have a smart bone where you can go anywhere in the timeline and just pull it back and it just comes down. But it can be a little tricky because you want some of it to overlap the front of the head and some of it to overlap the back. So I'm going to show you how to create that real quick. I'm going to use my regular character, and I'm just going to start off by creating a new vector layer on frame 0. And I'm just going to call this hood back. And I'm going to use the create shape tool. And I'm going to leave autofill and auto stroke off for now. I'm just going to draw a square, and then I'm going to hit A to add points, and I'll click here and click to the top, and I have auto weld on and sharp corners. So now we have two rectangles that are together, and I'll go ahead and color them. I have color styles on my character, so I'm going to use those colors. I'll go ahead and hit U on my keyboard and then select that first square, and I want it to be the shape or color of my shirt. So I'll go ahead and do shirt color, and you don't have to do this if you don't have color styles. Don't worry about it, just pick whatever color you need, and I'll hit spacebar. Actually, you know what, in case you don't use color styles at all, I'll just show you how I would pick the color. Let's turn the color off. So to make sure it matches my color exactly, I'll hit U, select it. I'll go to the fill color. Let me turn the opacity back up so it's solid. And then I'll click the eyedropper and drag it over my shirt so it's the exact same color. And let me go ahead and turn the stroke down. And I'll hit spacebar. If you have MOHO, you'll need to hit create shape. And it creates that same exact color. Then I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'll hit U, select that square. I'll hit spacebar. And again, if it's MOHO, you need to hit create shape. And I want it to be a little darker because it's going to be the back of the hood or the inside of the hood. So then I'll just click the color, and then I'll just drag the color down so it's a dark gray. And do that. And then I'll hit OK. Now I want this hood, wait, where is it? The hood back. I want it to be below my head or my face. So you can see right here I have my entire head in one layer. So I'll go ahead and drop that underneath. Hit A, Command A, selecting all, and then hit T, and then I'm just going to move it behind the head so we can kind of get the shape established. Then I'm going to hit T and click on points, and I'm just going to start moving them around. Right there. I'm going to move this point behind the head, and now I'm going to hit A, and I'll add some more points to this shape so it can start looking like a hood. I'll hit A and add another point. So this is the edge of the hood right here, just the light color, and again hitting A just to add more points, and it's going to go right about there. And then I'll move this to the back of the head, add some more points just so we have more to move around. And then the last thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to hit hide edges, use the hide edge tool, and let me zoom in using my mouse wheel. I'm just going to click right here and hide that edge, hit T. I'm going to go ahead and hide that edge too, even though it's behind the head, just so we have the back of the hood. I'll hit C, and I'll go ahead and curve these out, make that look a little bit better. We can add more points too as we go along, but this is the basic shape of the back of the hood because we just need this shadow to be able to manipulate on the other layer. And okay, well, you'll see. because it looks kind of weird right now. But now I'm going to do another new layer. So I'll do new vector. I'll call this hood front. And I'm going to drag it above the face. And I'm going to go ahead and do create shape, square. I'll go ahead and just draw that out. I'll hit U and create shape. And we want this to be the same color as the shirt. So we'll go ahead and click the eyedropper. Go ahead and drag that over. Drop it. Now we're just going to create the front of the hood. So I'll go ahead and hit T. Grab these points. I'm going to bring it down to his collar or wherever you have the hood connecting. And I'll start making that shape. I'll hit A. Kind of. I'll go ahead and just put it right where it needs to be, this point, and then kind of make the hood around that. Actually, it needs to go over here. I'll go ahead and hit A at another point. And kind of just go around the head. We'll go ahead and make a little fold in the hood. You can just leave it rounded, but I'll just do this, kind of make it like that. I'll hit C and curve these points out. Bring this down some more. Curve all these out. Maybe add some more points. Now the reason I made this darker background color on the hood is so we can click back on the hood back and then pull that color over here, so it's always covering the back of the hood. And just make that a little bit bigger. And then on the front of the hood, we'll do the same thing. We'll hide the edges just so it looks like it's one actual image or one actual shape. So hide that. I'm zooming in and I'm just moving these points just so it looks like it's connected. Like that. So now we have a hood on our character. Let me go to the back again and we can move this. I'm going to move it down to the collar, but we don't want that shadow there, so I'm just adding another point and kind of pulling that out and over like that. So now we have the hood, but it's not connected to our character. So if I go to my bone layer and move, obviously it's not stuck to the character. And you can bind it with points, but you don't need to. If you've used a rig like mine, you know, I have the head connected and the head like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to the head bone right here. So I'll go back to frame 0. I'm gonna click the hood front, and I'm not gonna select any points. I'm just gonna go ahead and select the bind layer tool. And then with the hood front selected, I'll just click on that head bone. And you can see it turns bright red. We'll click on the hood back, do the same thing. It's still on that tool. So I'll click on that, turns bright red again. Then I can go back to the bone layer and you can see now that the hood's actually connected. Both of those layers are connected to the head itself. Let me delete this because I tested this before, so let me delete that bone so you can see what I'm doing. So you can animate this point by point, but I created a smart bone to pull the hood up and down just to make it easier. So we're gonna go to frame 0, and on the main bone layer, I'll go ahead and hit A with nothing selected. I'll draw a bone. And I'll rename it hood. And then I'll hit B. And I'm gonna go ahead and highlight it. I like coloring my smart bones. And show label so we know what that is. Go ahead and turn the bone strength down too, because that can mess things up. So we'll go ahead and drag that down. Let me delete that because that was my test. And now we're going to create a smart bone action. So with smart bone selected and underneath the main bone layer, we have the hood bone selected. We'll go ahead and do new, type in hood, the name of the bone, and we'll go to frame 6 on the timeline. So go ahead and just click and drag, or just click on frame 6, and then we're going to go to the hood front, and I'm going to start moving points. So we're pulling the hood back, so I'm just going to grab the points and make sure that I clear the head. So I'm going to pull everything back like this, so it's almost really close to the edge of the head. And oops, I probably should have added more points. I might have to still. Put it up here. Basically, I'm trying to get the shape of the head first. So I'm moving these. And let me grab this hood back. Pull that up. There. And I'm just pulling that shadow back so it's behind the head still. And let's go ahead and pull that side back some. Like that. So let's scroll through. So the hood's going back to clear the head. And hood front. I need to try to get this just right. So first, we're just going to try and get the head shape as close as we can to pull the hood back first. Oops, let's put that all on frame 6. Like that. And now on frame 7, I'm just going to drag one over. I'm actually going to grab the hood front and drag it underneath the face. So it actually, oh, and you need to have, let's double click the bone layer and depth sort. Make sure animated sort or layer sort order is on. Otherwise this won't work. I mean, it won't move underneath during the smart bone action. So we'll go there. Frame 6. And then we're going to go to frame 12 or so. And I'm going to go to hit G. And I'm just going to grab all the points from the front layer and kind of drag it down. And hit T. Let's move these layers, or these points, one at a time. So I'm just grabbing these points and moving them all down. So it looks like the hood's coming down. And then go to hood back, hit T, and do the same thing. Again, I'm just dragging the points down. Oops, there's some weird. There we go. So we're moving the hood down. And then the hood back. Make sure you get that the shadow in the right place. Oops. Curve this out. I should have added another point or more points. Or maybe not. This should work. Drag this down. Drag this down. Keep it behind the head. Let's scroll through the timeline to see how that looks. Oh, something was weird here. Whoa, what? Okay. I'm back on frame 6 and I'm just gonna fix this, whatever I did. Okay, let me scroll through. Frame 6. That bend in the hood looked weird, so oops. trying to see. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to hit G. I'm going to select those points. I'm going to hit Command C to copy, go to 6, and Command V to paste. Oh, that doesn't work. I was trying to get those points in the same area, kind of. That's better. Goes back and down. Let's move this just a little bit. As with anything, you just need to kind of keep tweaking until you get it right. So now the hood's going back. The front part goes behind the head on 12, and then 18. We'll go ahead and move everything down. I'm going to hit G. I'm just going to select all of the points of the front, or most of them, and hit T and kind of move those all down at the same time. Hit T just to fine tune and adjust. Grab the hood back. Let's move that. Yeah, I could use another point maybe. That. Grab these, move these down and over. And always just keep checking your timeline. Just kind of scrub through it. Go back and forth just to see if it's working. And then I'll just go to frame 24, and this will be the final one. You can make as many keyframes as you want, but I'm just gonna move this, have it kind of flatten, so it's like just hanging off the back of his head a little bit, and grab the hood back. Adjust everything on that too. Hit T, move those points again, and we'll go ahead and flatten this just a little bit more. And then the last thing you need to do, if you're making a smart bone action, I'm on frame 24. I'll go back to the bone layer. I'll hit T, and I'm just going to grab the center of the bone and hold Shift down. I'm just going to rotate it to the left. So you can see as that hood action goes, the bone turns. So it goes down like that. That last keyframe looks weird. Hold on. Okay, hood front. Let's go. Let's make that a little bit better. Maybe.
I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror.
And like I always say, just keep messing with it until it looks right to you. Hood back. That looks pretty good. And you can always go back and fix it. So now that we have the rotation, I'll go double click back into the main timeline, just so you guys can see that it's actually working. So I have my character, I'm in the timeline, I have him fully rigged, have him walk in or whatever. Actually, let's go ahead and do that really quick. I'll just make a walk cycle. So I'm gonna go to frame 0. I'll go ahead and pose him really quick. Like that. Let me grab his eyes. Have him walking. So yeah, there we go. Okay. Command A, Command F. I'm just making a walk cycle really quick. Command A, Command F, freeze frames, grab, copy, paste. Give him a little movement so you guys can see him actually, that the hood on him is working too. Cycle this. And now we have a walk cycle. And cycle. Okay, we have our character walking, and then I'll have him stop. And then I'll have him pull his hood down. So I'm gonna go, let's go ahead. Have him reach up. And I'll have him move his arm down. And then where he's touching the top of his hood, I'm gonna click on my hood smart bone action, hit T, click on the center for rotation, go to where his hand's going down, and I'll go ahead and pull that down. You can see it looks like he's pulling his hood down, but you can use that hood action anywhere you want. Let me So here's the character walking, stopping, and pulling the hood down. And like I said, anywhere in the timeline, that hood is on the smart bone now, so I can move it up or down anytime I want. Oops, the shadow is not quite right. Let me go back. Even though we've made everything, made that entire animation, we can go back. Let me double click on the hood action. And the back, you can see the shadow's not quite right. So I'm gonna move this point down. I need to add another point. Let's go back in the timeline. So in the main timeline on frame 0, I'm gonna hit A, and I'm just adding another point to that shadow, just so we can kind of fix that whole thing. So I'll have to double click in the hood, and let's scroll through. Frame 6, everything looks all right. Let me move this down a little bit more. That looks better. So let's go into the main timeline and look at it one more time. Character's walking. Pulls the hood down, and where is that? Let's keep that down. There we go. Pulls it down. I can do the same thing. I'll put it back up. I'll freeze frame all my bones. Go forward a little bit. Put my hand back up. I'll move his hand up to the top of his head-ish. And then use that smart bone action. I'll hit T, click on it on my start frame. Put that up like that. Move his arm back down. So then his hood's back up. And that's it. It's really pretty easy to do. It just takes a couple of layers. If this is the kind of action that you're wanting to do, just because most of my positions or characters are 3/4 position, kind of like Family Guy. So this is just an easy way to kind of get that effect. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below. Thanks for watching.